Morning, everyone. Happy Friday. Welcome to our live training of eIMMIGRATION. My name is Vanessa Vargas. On behalf of Cerenade, I want to thank you for joining us today. This session is being recorded, and you can always watch the video when we upload it in our YouTube channel. If you haven't done it yet, just go to youtube.com, search for Cerenade Academy, and please subscribe so you can watch the videos when we upload them. All right, so today's training is about the admin portal. This PowerPoint presentation that I'm sharing with you today, you can download it. So please make sure you do that because we have different links that you can click on after the training. And so just click on handouts and then it should be right there. And also you can message me throughout the training if you have any questions. I understand please let me know. This is mainly for the administrators, of course, and we're gonna go over different customizations just so you understand if you're new. When you got your site, this is a caseworker portal. And if you click on the top right corner where it says settings, you should see, if you have access, of course, you should see the administrative tools. I recommend that you right click on that so that you open in a new tab. I always I always recommend doing that so you can go back and forth from the admin to the regular caseworker portal. But again, if you're new, this might be a little bit more advanced, or it might not be relevant just because you probably don't have access to the admin. But I suggest that you do stay to talk to your admin and let them know because they're probably not using the system to its full potential because they haven't customized the system. And so let's go over the admin. And again, let me show you the PowerPoint presentation that we have prepared for today. The administrative portal is that for the admin, for customizations, it really doesn't help you to create a case or work with forms. It's solely for customization. So think of it like the back office. And what I'm going to cover today is how to customize your different locations and users, the processes. We're going to go over even like how to create custom fields and connect them to forms and letter templates. For those who have billing, which is one of our optional modules, I'm going to show you how to customize it in order for you to start creating your invoices. Will this present? Yes, this presentation is recorded and the PowerPoint is shared. Actually, you need to download it. So in the Go to Webinar panel, the menu, look for the option that says Handouts. It says 1 of 5. So that one is my PowerPoint. Just make sure you download it. And yes, it's being recorded. You can always watch the video later. Going back to the menu that we have for today, we're gonna talk about creating questionnaires. You can customize them and how you can also add your form defaults, what the document repository is, the types, smart alerts. Hold on, I have one more. Custom reports, my favorite, and how to schedule them as well. I'm going to go over briefly on application settings, especially because we have a new feature and we're going to show you how to hide fields that you don't need from the general info page. And lastly, how to upload your logo. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to switch back. And so this is the administrative portal. And the first thing I'm going to talk about briefly would be departments. These are your locations. So if you ever need to create another branch or location, just add a department. And you can also click where it says select, edit, if you want to update your address, your information. This information is what auto-populates the forms. So make sure it's correct. Well, then users are your caseworkers, interpreters, attorneys, anyone that's using the system, and sometimes not necessarily. You might need to create an account for someone that, like an interpreter, and his or her information can auto-populate the form, but they're not necessarily using the system, so you don't have to pay for or create an account. If you do need them to log in and work with the system, then of course you need to contact us so that we can enable the license, and then you log in here to create an account for them. As an administrator, you have the power to control what dates and times they can log in, for how long should they have access to the system, and then also like access rights. Maybe I have billing, but I don't want to necessarily share my billing information with the team, so you can block it. Same thing with, e-filing or reports, so you can decide what should be allowed or what should be blocked. I highly recommend that you don't check this box for deletion, because it's just, to be safe. That way they can't delete unless you let them delete by enabling this box. All right. So again, when creating an account for a new paralegal, a manager, admin, just select the information and then make sure that you provide them also the URL once you create the account along with the username and password. All right. So that's where you create a user. Now, let me explain to you what case processes are. So these are the different matters or services, because we do have clients that are not necessarily attorneys and they use the system for non-immigration cases. But also we have clients that use it for personal injury, criminal cases, or family law. So you can also use the system and customize it for non-immigration cases. You'll notice on the right-hand side, we have case versus system processes. Well, the system processes are the ones that we provided by default. There are about 100 or so. And so even if you delete a B1, B2, you can always come here under system processes and you can click, where it says select copy to case processes. So I can copy an existing process, I can change the name, and I can choose what to copy from. Maybe I want to copy everything but the questionnaires and letters, and then change the name. And when you make a copy, it goes under your case processes. So we're not going to modify anything that's under case processes. If there's any updates or a new matter, a new type of system process, we're going to add it here. Now, I always recommend that you go through the case processes and you disable the ones that you don't need. So let's say in our law firm, we don't do investor E2. So I'm going to click on select edit and I'm going to disable it. That way, if I need it in the future, I can enable it again. But for now, instead of deleting it, I'm just going to hide it, which means let me switch to the other portal so I can give you an idea. This is what it means. When my staff creates a case, they won't see that process here in this drop-down menu. So instead of them scrolling down through this massive list, why don't you just hide the ones that you don't need, or rearrange the processes that you truly need on a daily basis, maybe the top 20, so they can just click and go. All right, let's go back. So the different circles that you see, the different columns, are the elements for each of the processes. If I want to customize the forms checklist, I click on the little circle for forms. And this is the naturalization / ciudadanía, because you can also add the translation if you want. And you can have the different forms. Maybe you prefer to do the G28 at last. You can click and drag and drop it all the way at the bottom. Or you can also use these to move up or down. Okay, so you can add or remove forms to your checklist. On the right-hand side of the menu, if I click on steps, so these are the process steps that we utilize to keep track of the status of the case, what's been done. So these are kind of like the to-do list of the caseworkers, the paralegals. It's also, again, the timeline. I can get an email letting me know what's my to-do list for today, or what's the priority of, because each of the cases will have this list, which of course you can modify. You can click here on the left to select edit, and you can modify the type of step, the description of whatever is, the task. And then also how many days. If I'm the person responsible for sending the contract and receiving it, maybe 2 days, right, to get it done. And then also, if I don't do it, if I don't mark it completed, I'm going to get an email reminder automatically the day it's due. Okay, so that's what it means. As an administrator, you can customize this checklist of different steps. And also, you can add activities. So the activities are, I don't think I put that link on my PowerPoint, I'm sorry, but just really quick, activities are actions that you can add so the system can perform automatically by default. every time that we do a naturalization and it's time for us to the what is this, the check retainer is paid. Okay, we want to then send a questionnaire, or we also want the system to email the attorney that the check has been received. So you can schedule these actions, or we call them activities, and you can decide when you want this to be triggered, when the process step starts, when it's completed, etc. And you can do that by default for every naturalization case. It's going to be the same process. And you can also do it on a case-by-case basis too. All right, moving on. Documents. Well, of course, the checklist. What do we need as evidence from the client? The more clear you customize this, the better for you. For example, I only want PDFs, or I'm going to add the translation so they know what this means. Like, it's easier for me to just click and share a checklist that has been customized, and I don't have to explain myself every time. So trust me, it might make a difference. Okay, questionnaires. Well, part of the process or package, besides knowing what forms you need to complete or steps to follow, documents together, of course, which questionnaire should I send when it's, when it comes to about naturalization? Well, I am going to click add if I want to include any of these questionnaires that we have regarding that process. For example, the background questions or anything that I have in the system for naturalization. I'm going to show you today how you can create your own questionnaires. Even though we have questionnaires in the system already, you can create your own questionnaires, and that way it's up to you if you want to send incremental pages so that they just respond to these particular questions, or if you want to send them like a full N400 questionnaire. It's up to you. So you have the power to, add or remove questionnaires from this checklist. Next, you have letter templates. Well, letter templates, you have to create them first. And I assume you already have these in Word or Outlook that you normally utilize. Well, you can just click here on letter templates, and you're going to add them from here. So for example, a welcome letter, or I don't know, like a follow-up email after they send the check for retainer. So you can write the email here or the body of a message, and then you can use these tags. And these tags, what they do is they help you auto-populate the information from the system to this particular letter. Just to give you an idea, I'm going to open a letter template just so you see what these tags look like. So case number or alien number, the client's first name. So the way these work, instead of pulling them from this drop-down menu, because it's massive. I mean, it's it's by alphabetical order, but if you want to quickly find a tag, we have a tool located here in the caseworker portal. If you go to tools, you're gonna see the tag helper at the bottom. And this is another reason why I recommend having two tabs open, because I can go back and forth. So from here, I can say, I don't know, I'm just looking for the first name for the individual client. And so it's going to narrow down the search, and I can easily just click on the tab on the left where it says actions, copy to clipboard. You click to copy, and then you switch back to paste. Let me paste it here. All right, so that means that every time I run this letter, the system is going to auto-populate the client's first name here. And so that's how you can build your letter template. This is a letter merge. And I'll show you over here. If I already have that included in one of my cases, it's really easy. You just go to documents, and you're gonna see that under letters. Now, the reason why I see it here is because I have customized my checklist. If you don't see it, you can always click on add letter from the predefined list, or create a new letter from scratch. So trust me, this is going to save you so much time, because you can either download a Word, a PDF document, you can send an email from here, and you can see the preview. Look at the different, Look at the different elements, the case number, the social, the name. So this is what the tags do. They pull the data similar to what happens when you complete a form. It pulls the information from all of these different fields. You could also use, by the way, custom fields as one of your tags. All right. Please let me know if you have any questions. I know I have a lot to cover, and remember, this is being recorded. I want to make sure I mention this disclosure because if you're the person like me, if you try to take notes, it's going to be overwhelming. Don't do that. Just sit, relax, try to learn as much as you can, but please do watch the video and contact us if you have questions when you are working on your own letter templates. We have a technical support option and a lot of resources available. Okay. All right, so after that, I have custom fields. Let me take you back really quick to the caseworker portal. Oh, thank you for that question. Someone sent me a question, and yeah, this is exactly why I recommend that you message me because I'm not a robot. This is your training, so thank you for taking advantage of that. So the question is, can you make the line spaces closer? So the reason why they look bigger or they're spaced out is because this is HTML. This is not your typical Word document editor. So this is what I have learned. If I type and I want to make it closer, press the shift button on your keyboard at the same time with enter. So shift enter and it does the trick. Whereas if I don't press shift and I just hit enter, it does what you're talking about. So that's a trick if you want to avoid double space. All right, thank you for you're welcome. All right, so going back to the caseworker portal, I wanted to show you this. This is the client or, contact profile. You have different fields, and today I'm going to show you how to hide them. If you don't want to see fax number, I'm going to show you where to fix that. Well, what if you want to add another field that's not available here? We call them custom fields. So before we had them over here, we still have them on the right hand side, custom fields. But now you can create custom fields and put them on these on the general info page. So you can choose which custom fields should reflect here. And also you can connect a custom field to an actual form. So if I want this information to auto-populate the DS160 or the DS260, I can do that. I just have to create my custom field, connect it to the form, and that's it. Well, of course, you have to enter the information as well. So as long as you have information here, and then you link this or map it to the form, it will transfer, just like it transfers all of these different fields that are default or system fields. Let me take you back to that. Okay, I'm back in the admin. And so from here, you're going to click on Client Custom Fields. All right. We do also have the ability to create case custom fields, but I recommend that you create them under Client Custom Fields because this is where you can use them to include in a custom questionnaire. And so the case custom fields cannot be mapped to a questionnaire because we don't know what case usually when you send a questionnaire, it's when it's a prospect or you're getting started. All right, so how to create or add a custom field? You're gonna click here, add client custom field, select the type of client. And by the way, the name cannot contain spaces, so you can do underscore, last underscore arrival underscore date, for example. And then your title could be normal. When did you arrive in the US or when was your last arrival? And then of course the type of field would be date because that's what I'm asking. But it could be text, number, Boolean. Boolean is a little square like this one. In fact, let me show you an example. Under my custom fields, I have a section or view for marketing. And one of the questions was best way to contact you. And I created a custom field just like that, phone, text message, email. So I can run a report and say how many of my clients prefer to just be contacted via phone. And so you can do that, especially, of course, if you have custom reports. So when you create custom fields, you can do the drop-down menus like these. You can do the dates, text, numbers, again, the Boolean. And you should organize them by different categories. For example, my category will be legal residency. And within that category, I'm grouping what's the last name, first, middle name on their green card, and the date when they started residing in the US legally. So that's the category. And then you can group different categories within different views, immigration versus criminal versus marketing. So again, the more you the more you customize the system, the better, because you're going to be organized. Let me take you back to here, to the admin. So once you create your custom fields, you want to create on the right hand side the different categories and the views that I was talking about. And if you click on System Client Custom Fields, you're going to see the option for General Info. This is where you can add custom fields that you want to reflect on the main screen. Remember, I told you if you go to General Info page, if you want to see specific custom fields, you can show them here by enabling from the admin portal. System, Client Custom Fields, then General Info. All right, let me know if you have any questions. In fact, let me see if I have a question for you. How many of you have access to the admin portal for customizations? Let's see, just click on the screen, and while you vote, you let me sip for my coffee mug. Okay, perfect. This is awesome. Okay, I'm gonna just close and oops. The 92% have access. Perfect. And since I already covered that, have you customized your case processes? Awesome. It does make a difference when you do that in general, I guess. But because on a daily basis, you just click and go. You want to save as much time as possible. So that's the reason why I recommend that you do customize the processes. All right, so for those that have not yet customized them, just click here, case processes, and then we have videos as well. I put the links, remember to download my PowerPoint presentation, because I put the links right here. Now let me show you how to connect your custom fields to your forms. So if you want to do that, just click on, from the admin portal, you want to click on File, Form Custom Data Population. You're going to add the form that you want to customize. Just find the form, let's say the N400. I'm going to select the form. And I'm going to find the field that I want to customize. For example, this one, number 9, it says the date you became a lawful permanent resident. Well, the reason why it's already red is because I have linked that uh, before. So if I want to remove that, I just click on the field. I click on this icon on top, and I can delete. Let me delete it so you guys can see what, okay. I'm gonna do it one more time. So I click on the field that I wanna customize, because remember, I'm gonna switch really quick. Remember that I explained to you that under custom fields, I created a category for legal residency. I created a question like, when did you start living in the US legally? So because I have my custom field ready, now I'm going to connect it to that specific form on that specific field. So I click on that field, I click on this icon, and I'm going to select the client custom field, which was residency or um, rabies. Okay, sorry. Let me go back. I have resided in the US since, okay, it should be, oh, you know what? Give me 1 second. Mm, oh, right here. Date last arrived. All right, and then this belongs to the alien, not the employer or alien or So I'm just going to select the type of role, which is the alien, and that's it. Whenever I open an N400, if I have data in this custom field that I have linked, then it's going to auto-populate. By the way, of course, if it doesn't populate, it's because either you don't have data or you link it to the wrong custom field. And there's no save button, just close the form. Also keep in mind that if the form gets updated, you have to come back and remap to the new version. Okay, because that question might be gone or... All right, moving on, we have billing. For those that have billing module as one of your custom, as one of your optional modules, billing allows you to create invoices, but we can't really create an invoice if we don't know, how much is that you charge for consultation or, for a naturalization service. So you need to create or add your billing items here. And this type is customizable. So if you want to be specific, like translation, we recommend that you enter a code that's clear so that you identify, or again, if you don't want to do that, you can just enter a number. But again, enter the service, the description, how much you charge for translation, and you can also charge per hour. If you do more than immigration cases, you can also do that. Let's say family law. Once you create your billing items, you can also, if you can, I recommend link it back to your processes. So now that I know how much we charge for naturalization, well, then I can go back to my processes and click on billing items. So I can include or add the process, and that way my staff knows exactly how much we charge, okay, for that service. All right. I'm going to show you how to create your own custom intake forms. This is this is a fun part. All right, so I'm gonna click here, custom form templates. And then I'm gonna click on intake forms. You have the option to create intake forms from scratch, like custom intake forms. If you have created any custom forms and you want to make a copy, you can just click copy, so that way you don't have to start from scratch. And we also have the system intake forms. The system intake forms are the ones that we provide by default, different sections of the system like general information, history of address, employment history, etc. So if you want to copy any of these questionnaires, such as, let's say, N400, or let's do the TPS, I'm going to click on select copy. I can rename this. So maybe I'll just say A21 TPS intake form. Oops. I'll add my initials and maybe today's date. So now that I have that, all of these questions that I don't have to create because they're already in the system, on the left-hand side, I can choose what to add. Sorry, I'm reading a question from the Q&A. It says, how can I make the font size a uniform size in the forms or an admin without having to change the font size per column? On the forms, are you talking about, well, they should be uniform on the forms. Um, of course, if you exceed remember that you can keep typing on a field and we actually reduce the size of the font. And those settings are available under, let me go back really quick. So go to application settings. I know we have some settings under forms. So if you don't want us to reduce the font size, change that, and you can change the reduce font size here. As far as that, or the posted, the sticky notes, I believe that's under the caseworker portal. Yeah. All right. Thank you for the question. Let me go back, because this is very important. If you, of course, want to use the ones that we provide, that's great. But I highly recommend that you make your own version of the questionnaires if you want to add or remove stuff. Here's where on the left where I can just click and add any questions, like a yes or no question, or document upload, address. And we also have templates such as the client's father, client's mother's information, By the way, if you add that, you don't have to necessarily ask for every single field. You can uncheck this box and then you can ask specifically, I just need your father's, date of birth or maybe a phone number, but that's it. And you can also rearrange the questions if you change the number here, and I want to move this all the way up. So maybe my question would be name. Have you ever contacted, I don't know, our office before? Or so you can also ask questions for marketing purposes. Is this the first time that you contact us? Yes, no, and you can add a follow-up question. So this is if you want to create additional questions and you don't have to create them from zero. On the left-hand side, we have repeated sections, such as other names or previous addresses, previous marriage history. Now, regarding previous addresses, if you need just 5 years, for example, you can specify that. We only need 5 years. And let me move this to number 3. So when I click here, it's going to rearrange that question, and it's right here. So all you need to do is select the number. Let me go back at the bottom. So all you need to do is select the number, like this one, number 2 or number 1, and click save. And that's when you confirm, and the system is going to rearrange it. You can also click on options if you want to add your logo, or you can also add numbers to your questions, as well as any spaces or description or headers. In fact, let me add one header, and it's going to be TPS full questionnaire. I'm going to do that center large. And I'm also going to add a description where I'm just going to say, please submit this questionnaire as soon as possible. Or if you have any questions, contact this number. And if I click preview, now I can see the logo, my header, my description, and the questions that I added with specific instructions. Trust me, it can take you less than 15-20 minutes to create exactly what you want from the clients instead of sending a Word document and then you have to type the information yourself. Actually, how many of you have questionnaires that you created in Word that you send them via email or you print them so clients can answer that and then they have to either scan or send it back to you? I get that a lot. And so I get it, it's what you have done in the past. But take advantage of the technology that you now have. Turn that questionnaire that you have in Word, turn that into our technology. So when you share with your clients or you open this questionnaire on your screen, it's going to, let me see, 71%. Yeah. Okay. So those questionnaires that you have created in the past in Word, just turn them into, you can open another tab and go back and forth to see, okay, well, this is a question, okay, where in the system is that question? But we already have these background questions that you don't have to retype for most of these forms. I'm gonna close this. So that's the first step when you kind of like add or remove questions. And then we have mappings. Mappings are, once I create a question, where do I need to save that? Where in the system is the first and last name? Well, that's under general info. And I just have to click the um, the field and I can make it required. So the clients cannot continue if they don't respond to these questions. It tells me that I have 7 unmapped fields, which are probably the ones that I added here at the bottom. I just have to create the here, what address. I'm asking for an address, but do I need the abroad, the US, or a mailing address? So that's why it's pending. And all I need to do is select the type of field. Again, just selecting the city. Oh, you know what? I can go back because if it's a US resident address, I don't need the country. So all I need to do is go back to the fields locate my question, which is over here, address, hold on. Okay, here we go. What I did, by the way, if you press on your keyboard Control F, you can type the word that you're looking for, and so that way it's easier. Like me, I didn't know where this was. So I don't need the address, so I'm gonna click here to edit. I mean, I do need the address, but it's not, I don't care for this. I just care for, and in fact, I'm gonna type US residence every time, address. Okay, so, and I don't want this here. I want to move it to number 3. Save. So now let's preview. Okay. Where did it go? Oh, well, US resident address. It's right here. And I want to map it. So US residence. The reason why it's not letting me map to this one is because I have already mapped to a different field. And so that, if that happens to you, make sure that you have not mapped like this one. See, I had created, it's under 135. Let me go back to my fields. Number 135, it looks like here we go. Let me remove that one. Okay, so I'm just gonna use this one. Let's go back to mappings, and here we go. Now it should let me link from the US resident address. Unit type. Sorry about that. I don't know what I'm, okay. Same thing, this one is locked. Okay, let me add it one more time. Address, number 1. I care for state and zip code. And I don't have any other, perfect, okay. So US address. I'm glad this is happening to me so that when it happens to you, you know how to how to use this. Okay, go back to mappings and select the address. I care for US residence address. And now I can select the street, the unit type, unit, what is this, city, state, and zip code. And I can make this mandatory again if I want. So now I just have 2 unmapped, which I'm not gonna work on that right now. Translations is the last step. If you want this particular questionnaire to be available in a different language, just select the language, make sure that you review so everything looks fine. And then at the bottom, you're gonna click submit. And that's it. You can save and continue or save and close. Once you create your questionnaire, I recommend that you link it to your processes so that every time that you guys work on that TPS, you know exactly that, that questionnaire is available. All right, next is form defaults. This is another great feature, and again, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, so let's go over it. Form defaults. Form defaults allow you to customize a form, such as I-485 or N-400. Instead of marking these redundant fields like the have you ever, instead of marking those manually for every client, you can customize a form default. So every time you open the N-400, it has all these questions already marked with no, 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 no. So it's better to just do it one time. And of course, if your client has said yes to any of these questions, then we're going to populate the yes. So let me save it. I'm going to take you back to this window and show you what happens when I add an N400. let's take a look. By the way, it's not going to affect previous forms, just moving forward. So if you today add your defaults, it's not going to change all forms or previously created forms. So let me go back to page 13. Here we go. So those are the ones that I have customized. And I'm trying to show you if the client has a yes, how it transfers a yes. But I don't know if I picked the correct client. I know in my example, she has, let me see which client did I select. Yeah, that's her. So to give you an idea, when you go to a contact profile under background general questions, you're gonna see the background questions. So if they say yes, even if your default says no, we transfer the yes. That's what I was referring to. And that's again under form defaults. The next one is document repository. This is where you can save or include documents that you can share with your team, or let's say you're not in the office. So think of it like the cloud within the cloud. You can add documents, and if I am your paralegal and I need a copy of the agreement or a copy of, I don't know, like a welcome letter, since I'm not the administrator, and if that's not available under, let's say, letters, you can always add the document from the document repository. So I can import from there, and that way everyone is using the same version of that document. Of course, if you guys are subscribed to Office 365, you can also edit that file online. I think someone asked that question, so we're going to go over that Office 365 integration. All right, next is types. Types of reminders or type of notes, type of calendar appointments. Make sure that you customize them, because when you create a note or when you create a reminder, it's easier to find them by having a category. You know, how many notes do I have regarding consultation, instead of just having all the notes under general. So make sure that you add a type of comment, and that way your staff can be super specific when they create. And I think you can make those mandatory, meaning if I go to create a log, when I add the comment, that type of comment here, instead of just saying general, again, I can be specific. It makes a difference, because when you create that note or when you create the reminder here, also especially especially for reminders, when you add the reminder, you're gonna get that email that says you have this task. Well, what specifically, what is the deadline about? Oh, well, you have a court hearing, or you have a consultation, or you need to check with the client about biometrics appointment details. So the more specific, the better for you, especially long term, when you have to find stuff in the system. So those are the types. You can also create, if you are a nonprofit, the type of programs are for the different grants. So you can find the different grants that your client qualified for. You can run the report based on that. We call them case program types. Case document types are, or custom document types are anything that you want to track, like an EAD, RFE, anything. This is not just for immigration. Honestly, this could be for anything that you want to track, and just create the category, the document type, and if you go to the system under documents, you're going to see them under user defined. So that drop down menu that says document type, this is what I'm referring to. So I can track all my 797s expiration dates or anything. All right, let's go back. Physical document location, well, where's the actual folder at? If I create a case and I go to my case basic information, I can specify this folder for H1B is on room 3, cabinet A. So it's easier to find the physical document location. Closing or archiving a case, what's the reason why? You can make this mandatory and let the staff either edit or just choose from this list. And again, let me show you the benefit. If someone tries to change the active status to archive or closed, This is mandatory. So they can't change it unless they tell you why they closed the case. Okay. And then you can run a report and say, how many cases did we close because lack of payment? So that's another reason why you should customize it. And then we have these smart alerts, global. They're global because they're going to affect every client, and that's why you're creating them from here, from the admin. But to give you an idea, one of the alerts that we offer would be an advanced alert that gives you information. So let's say warning. Anytime that a client has invoices that have pending balances or they are overdue, I'm going to create that global alert. If I go into the system and let's say I'm the receptionist, I have no clue whatsoever, and this person calls for an update or they have questions. When I open their account, I'm gonna get this pop-up alert that says they have overdue invoices. And so I always joke and say you should call the cops on this one. You have 167 overdue invoices. Anyway, so yeah, you can do the global alert and you can click on this dancing bell red over here on the top left. So if I click, it tells me even if I dismiss it, I can always see if what active alerts or I can add an alert. So let's say this client promised to pay this afternoon. I'm just gonna add my initials so that anytime that someone, and I'm say this is info. So this is an alert that you can create on a case-by-case basis, which can be modified or deleted. And that way, when someone else opens this case or client, they can see my alert. All right, those are okay. I'm looking at the chat. I know there's questions that I'm gonna get to. Just give me 1 second because I want to move on to the next slide, which is the last one. Okay, custom reports. I always praise custom reports because I think that no matter if you're a solo practitioner or a large organization, I think you can get a lot done with reports. The reports that we offer are called standard reports. So those are available. You can always block them if you don't want to share with your team. But if you have custom reports, it allows you to customize your own reports or make copies of the ones that we have. For example, cases by attorney or paralegal. We already have a report created under standard category, which you can make a copy and rename it so that when you let me do that. If I click copy and say, well, cases by Vanessa, or you can leave it open so your staff can choose their name instead of being super specific. But let's say that I only want to create a report for cases created by this person. Displays a report for all cases assigned to Vanessa. So then, who should have access to the report internally? Well, this doesn't matter. I mean, it's going to be internal, so that's fine. You can always, like I said, create a general report. Now, if you notice, it's not going to let me edit the criteria because I'm using the standard report. I need to click save and then go for my report. Let me search cases by Vanessa. Okay, I think I've done this before. All right, so I'm going to click select edit, and now it should let me modify the criteria. See how this one says caseworkers equal to. I'm looking for cases that have a caseworker equal to, and then I get this drop down menu. Instead of doing that, I'm going to change it to in, and I'm going to select my name. So it's only caseworker Vanessa. Now the cases that I care for will be in active. So just active cases that I created. Instead of between, I'll say this year. How many cases have I created this year? So again, if you notice, depending on the criteria that you choose, it's going to give you a whole different report. For example, if I say cases, caseworker, caseworkers, and I say equal to, hold on, caseworker, in. All right. So I'm just going to say, give me all the cases that either Benita or Vanessa, not both of us. So you can change the comparison or operator here, sorry, operator. So say, I'm looking for cases that have Vanessa listed or Benita, and they're active cases created this year. And then below, you'll see the columns. When you run the report, what exactly are you gonna, need? The case number, when the case was created, the client's first and last name. I don't care for their birthday, but I do care for what type of case was this. So case, general info, process. And you can move this category. For example, when was this case created? The type of case, the case number. And I suggest that you add one that says client name instead of the first and last name, because that way you get a hyperlink that you can click on. Also, you cannot save, let me show you. You cannot save or even test the report if you don't have at least one column with a sorting option, ascending or descending. Let's test it. It looks like, wow, 1,549 cases. Oh, you know what? I should have changed this to and. So instead of or, it's Vanessa or, sorry, caseworker Vanessa or Benita. And this is why you can add a begin group. Like, okay, here we go. Let me add one more. So this is what I'm saying. I am creating a category. One more. Begin group with either Vanessa or Benita. Did I select her name? Yeah, Benita, Vanessa. Okay, and it has to be active and it has to be created this year. Let me run the report one more time. Yes, that's what I was looking for. So only cases that have been created this year that are active, either Benita or myself. I forgot to add one column to show who's caseworker. So let's add case, general info, and caseworker. No, sorry. Give me one second. My mouse is acting up. Case, caseworker, and caseworkers. I almost clicked on the wrong one. Did you guys see that? I almost clicked on home screen. So this is where you need to click on and the black arrow to go back. I did something wrong. And ascending. Oh, what happened here? Case creation, case worker, case number, client's name. Oh, and when the case was created. Oh, it's right here. Case creation date, case worker, case number. Sorry, it might be because it's Friday. I'm exhausted. Case creation is here. The case worker, so it should be, yeah, Benita has some cases created this year, and then the case number and the client name. So one advice I can give you is any type of case report that you create, make sure that you add a column for the case number and the client name, because you can click on it and it takes you to that specific case. It's a lot easier to do that. So make sure that you add client name or case number. Also, don't click on the browser's back arrow. Just click here and this one in the middle. Otherwise, you're going to lose it. So I'll change cases by Vanessa or Benita. All right. So I'm actually per year, because this can be the reason why you have the comparison and the different options right here is because you can probably say between, equal, greater than. So because I put this year, I can use this report any year. Also, when you create a report, make sure that you leave the criteria defined like I did. I don't have it open where it's like this, and the system doesn't know what dates you're looking for. Whereas if I choose this year and this is a defined criteria, well, I can save my report and then I can schedule it. So I can say on a monthly basis or yearly basis, weekly, you can choose how often and what type of format. I want to send a PDF every month with all the active cases per paralegal, prospects created per week. See how many prospects do we get per week. So that could be a good Excel to share. And even if you are sending it to someone, they don't have to have a license with eIMMIGRATION. You can create a report to send it to your accounting department to show how many invoices have pending balances or how many payments you have received, grant information, etc. As long as you select the report, the format, and the recurrence, for how long do you want to send this report? So I'm going to say until the end of the year, and I'll just enter the recipients. So let me add accounting department. So just to give you an idea, I can send this report on a weekly basis so they see any invoice information without them having to log in into eIMMIGRATION. This is how you can schedule a report. I know we're running out of time. The last part I'm going to show you is settings. So for that, in the admin, you're going to click on application settings. And obviously, I can't tell you what to choose or what not, but you have to explore because it really depends on how you guys do it. For example, one question we get a lot is like, how come forms have the default country to the US? So you can uncheck that and it's going to be blank. Or if you have e-signatures, if you don't enable it, then of course you won't see the e-signing or the electronic signature feature. And so make sure that you explore. One of the things that we recently added, it's under client settings. And if you click here, general info layout, you can select what exactly you want to show in that info page. Remember over here, maybe I don't care for their picture or I don't care for the preferred name or fax number. And so you can dismiss any field that it's not important to you. For example, if you're not a nonprofit, you probably don't care for their household income or size. Or I'm just going to remove the whole section. So it's up to you. Degree, major field of study, I'm going to hide and maybe the fax number. So once I apply, let me save my changes and refresh the screen. Here's the smart alert. So if you notice, fax number is no longer there and the whole section is gone for immigrant status. So that's how it works. And let me change it back before I forget. Any questions at this point, please message me before we go over the Q&A. Let me apply, save my changes, and go back. So, oh, one more thing. Branding. How to change your logo. It's the same location. In the admin, just go to application settings and you're going to see it right there, branding. And this is where you upload your logo. Make sure it's 300 by 70 pixels in GIF format only. Alrighty, so I have, remember to download my PowerPoint presentation because it has different links. I have added links that you can click on and learn what's, well, technically not new, but make sure that you do that. And the other thing is, what happens when you have questions? You can call us Monday through Friday from 8 to 5 Pacific Standard Time, except on holidays. You can email us 24/7, that's our email address, but also in your home screen, you have the technical support message where you can also send your feedback to developers and you can access a user's guide. I put the link right here. And these trainings for free are on Fridays at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We have a podcast called Cerenade Snacks, And we have a forum page on Facebook. I put the link right here so you can join. Last week, 2 people joined, so thank you for taking advantage of that, because now you can interact and learn from each other. And lastly, like I said in the beginning of today's presentation, please make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel called Cerenade Academy. All right. Here are some of the questions that you guys submitted, and then I'm going to read the questions that you are entering in the chat. How can I automatically disable an account? From the admin, just click on users and add the expiration date. So that way, in case you forget, it's going to be disabled automatically. How do we copy the process steps for one type of case and then copy those steps and put them into another type? So from the admin, go to case processes. So let's say I want to use the ones I have for the naturalization service or matter. I click here, copy, and then I select I want to copy the steps, but not the forms. So you can do that. And then of course rename rename the process. Also, if you are already in a case and you want to copy process steps, if you click add, you can also add from a predefined list of steps, not one single step. So you can choose, okay, I'm going to add the ones for naturalization. So I just have to pick the process, click add steps, and now besides the ones I have for H-1B, now if I scroll down, I'm going to see the ones that we have for N-400 or for naturalization. Is there a way to create a standard agency report that each caseworker could run for on their own caseload? So it's similar to what I just did. And what you can do is leave it open. So instead of defining the caseworker, you can let them pick from that list. And say, yeah, you have to be subscribed to the optional module custom reports. I recommend that you schedule them too. Lastly, how does the Office 365 integration functions? You can access and sync your Outlook calendar bidirectionally. You can access and edit your Office documents like Word, Excel, PowerPoint online and without having to download and re-upload. If you are subscribed to Mail Anywhere, which is another one of our optional modules, you can also access your Office 365 Outlook inbox and import emails of interest as case or client documents in PDF format. All right, let's see some of the questions that you guys sent. Number one, let me make this bigger. Sorry, it's way too small on my screen. I just have to. Is it possible to run automatic reports on a specific date for specific areas? Yes. Make sure you have custom reports. Other than trial and error when attempting to run a report, is there a cheat sheet for creating reports? We do have videos and articles that will guide you through the process, but of course you can contact us for support if you encounter any issues. Like today, for example, what I was showing you that if I don't select the comparison, it will give me that error message. If you don't know what that is, just click on technical support and messages. Hey, I'm creating a report. What is this? We don't have per se like a cheat sheet, but we have a user's guide article that you can find here for reports. Will this recording be made available to us? Yes, this video, if you haven't done it yet, go to youtube.com, search for Cerenade Academy, and it's going to be available there. Make sure that you subscribe. How can I get the video for today's training? Yeah, this is where you can get the video. If you want, email us at ECMS support. Let me show you the email address one more time. So if you can send us an email, once I upload it, I can also email you directly the link, because sometimes it might take a few days to be available on YouTube if you need it, the video today. Where can I find the PowerPoint presentation? The PowerPoint presentation that I shared today, if you click on handouts, you're gonna be able to download it. Before you guys go, please let me know if your questions were addressed during the webinar. If not, you can please contact our technical support team. So we have a poll in progress. I appreciate if you can participate before you disconnect. I know it's Friday. I hope you learn at least something, at least one thing. But please make sure that you customize the system, because I think that's the advantage of having the back office without extra fees, and it's really easy. If you have questions, you can always contact us. I'm just waiting for the rest of the participants to vote. All right, just making sure. Thank you for those that participated. And on behalf of Cerenade, we want to thank you for attending today's webinar. If you have, well, you should be getting the notifications, but again, these are the trainings that we have scheduled for next month. We're going to do how to efficiently gather your data from clients using the questionnaires and other tools. Then we have one on February 10th on calendar appointments, deadlines, and reminders. We always try to have a basic training for new users each month, so that one's going to fall on the 17th. And lastly, maximize your investment and use eIMMIGRATION to its full potential. So those are the trainings that we have for next month. And please make sure that you connect with us either through Facebook or Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, any channel, the podcast, especially on our YouTube channel. We appreciate your time, and let us know if you have any questions. All right. Thank you and have a great weekend. If you have any questions, I'm going to stay here for a couple more minutes. All right, so we're going to disconnect. Again, thank you everyone for attending today's webinar, and contact us if you have any other follow-up questions. Have a good weekend.